A car screeched across the curb as the black SUV swerved to a stop. Doors flew open, armed men stepping out first to scan the street. Then he appeared. Leonardo Vargas, the mafia boss whose name made grown men swallow their fear before speaking. He stepped out slowly, straightening his suit jacket with the calm of someone who controlled entire cities. But his eyes weren't calm. Not tonight. A child's scream cut through the noise of traffic. Leonardo snapped toward the sound instantly. A little boy, no more than 6, stood near the entrance of the restaurant, shaking and crying uncontrollably, his tiny hands clutching the air as if begging someone to find him. People stared, but no one moved to help. They hesitated, afraid, unsure. But one person didn't hesitate. A woman darted through the small crowd, a dark-skinned woman with braided hair pulled back neatly, wearing a simple work shirt and a backpack slung over one shoulder. She dropped to her knees right in front of the trembling child. Hey, mi amor. Tranquilo, estoy aquí, she whispered, soft Spanish flowing smoothly from her tongue. The effect was instant. The child's sobbing slowed, his breathing eased, and he clung to her shirt, as though she was the safest thing he'd ever known. The woman wrapped her arms around him gently, rubbing slow circles on his back. Estoy contigo, respira, pequeño. Respira conmigo. Leonardo froze in place. His men paused mid-step, confused by his reaction. The boss wasn't known for freezing. He was known for ending things, for making decisions without blinking. But now he stood rooted to the concrete, his expression unreadable, his eyes locked on the woman. His chest tightened as something old, something buried, clawed its way to the surface of his memory. That voice, that tone, that language. A lullaby in Spanish whispered to him in the dark when he was a boy. A woman with warm hands and a soft voice who vanished too early. A voice he had forced himself to forget because remembering hurt too much. And yet here it was again, alive. His right-hand man, Mateo, stepped closer. "Boss, you okay?" Leonardo didn't answer. He simply watched as the woman wiped the child's tears with her thumbs, whispering soothing words. "¿Dónde está tu mamá? Te perdiste. Está bien. Te ayudaré." Her calmness, her confidence, her warmth. He felt his pulse rising, something unfamiliar twisting inside him. The child finally pointed weakly toward the parking lot, and the woman stood, holding his hand, ready to lead him. That was when Leonardo stepped forward without realizing it. Mateo whispered sharply, "Boss, what are you doing?" Leonardo's voice came out low, nearly a growl. "Who is she?" The child's mother came running, snatching the boy into her arms and thanking the woman repeatedly. She smiled politely, nodding, stepping back to continue her walk. The moment she turned away, Leonardo finally moved. "Find everything about her," he said quietly. Mateo blinked. "The woman? Why? She just helped." Leonardo's stare cut him off instantly. "Now, Mateo." His men went into motion immediately, some blending into the night, others tailing her from a distance. The woman had no idea the mafia was already behind her. She simply walked toward the bus stop, adjusting her backpack strap and checking her phone. She didn't look over her shoulder. She didn't notice the black motorcycle tracking her from a lane behind. She didn't notice the 2 men seated near the bus sign, pretending to scroll on their phones, but watching her every step. Leonardo watched her from afar, until she disappeared into the evening crowd. Only then did he get back into the SUV, but the tightness in his chest refused to go away. As the car began moving, Mateo cleared his throat. "Boss, what exactly are we looking for?" Leonardo stared out the window. "Everything." Mateo hesitated. "You think she's connected to something. She didn't look like—" "It's not what she looks like." Leonardo's voice was low, almost distant. It's what she sounded like. Mateo frowned. Spanish? Leonardo didn't reply. His silence said enough. Meanwhile, the woman, her name was Amara, boarded a nearly empty evening bus. She tapped her card, sat by the window, and let out a long breath. What a day. First her shift at the language center, then the bus delays, then finding a lost child. She shook her head and smiled softly. Poor boy. He looked so frightened. She didn't know she had been watched boarding. She didn't know a car had followed the bus from a distance. She didn't know two strangers behind her were whispering into their earpieces. She was completely unaware of the world she had just stepped into. As the bus rattled down the road, she pulled out her phone. A message popped up from her landlord. Rent due tomorrow. Late fees apply immediately. Amara sighed. Of course, she muttered, as if life wasn't already heavy. Another vibration. Her friend Lila sent a voice note. Girl, you coming tomorrow? Don't leave me to handle those kids alone. Amara smiled a little and typed back. I'll be there. Promise. Teaching Spanish to children was the one part of her week she genuinely loved, but tonight she was tired. All she wanted was to sleep. Behind her, a man she didn't know whispered, We've got visual. Subject seated on right side. No unusual behavior. The second man murmured, Boss wants everything. Keep distance. Their eyes stayed locked on her reflection. When she got off the bus, she didn't notice the unmarked car parking a few meters away. She hummed softly as she walked toward her building, punching in the gate code. The men watched her enter. One of them sent the message, Address secured. Less than an hour later, Mateo walked into Leonardo's office. Boss, we have her name, job, and address. No criminal record. Clean background. She teaches Spanish part-time at a community center. Leonardo was seated at his desk, hands clasped, staring at nothing. Mateo pressed. Do you know her? Leonardo finally looked up. No, but her voice. I've heard it before. Mateo blinked. Boss, with respect, that sounds insane. Leonardo leaned back slowly. Maybe, but find out more anyway. As Mateo left, Leonardo closed his eyes, hearing the whisper of a Spanish lullaby that hadn't touched his ears since he was a scared child hiding under a bed. He whispered to the empty room, Why do you sound like her? And somewhere across the city, Amara slept peacefully, unaware that the most powerful and dangerous man in the city had just placed her at the center of his world. Amara woke early the next morning, unaware of the silent chaos her presence had triggered. She dressed in her usual work clothes, tied her hair back and grabbed her backpack before heading out. She didn't notice the same unmarked car parked across the street. She didn't see the man pretending to fix his shoelaces while watching her lock her gate. She walked to the bus stop humming softly. She played a Spanish song on her phone, bobbing her head lightly. Nothing seemed off. It was just another morning. But in a dark sedan, 2 cars behind her bus, Mateo reported quietly, She's mobile. In the back seat, Leonardo stared at the moving bus without blinking. For a man who commanded empires, he looked strangely unsettled. Mateo glanced at him through the mirror. Boss, what exactly do you expect to find? Leonardo didn't respond immediately. His eyes stayed fixed. I don't know, but I'll know when I hear it again. Mateo exhaled softly. All this for a woman who spoke Spanish to a kid? Leonardo's jaw tightened. You didn't hear how she said it. Mateo slowly closed his mouth. He had seen Leonardo angry, violent, cold. But this wasn't any of those. This felt like something else, something deeper. At the community center, Amara walked into the bright classroom filled with children. She greeted them with her usual cheerful tone. "Buenos dias, mis amores. How are we today?" The kids responded with excitement, some shouting phrases in Spanish they'd been practicing. Amara laughed genuinely. Teaching these kids made her life a little brighter. But as she moved around the room, a man stood outside the hallway pretending to read a bulletin board. He wasn't there for announcements. He was there for her. He raised his phone to his ear. "Subject is interacting with children. Seems to be part of her job. No suspicious connections." Inside, one of the girls tugged Amara's sleeve. Miss, can we do the Spanish song again?" Amara smiled. "Of course. Ready?" They began singing a soft, sweet children's lullaby. It was the same melody she had used to calm the lost little boy. Outside the door, the man frowned. "She's singing!" Mateo's voice came through his earpiece. "Singing what?" "Some children's Spanish lullaby." Mateo sucked in a breath. "Record it." At that exact moment, Leonardo got out of the car. The security guard in the lobby nearly choked when he saw him. Big suited men didn't usually walk into community centers, especially not ones whose faces appeared in underground newspapers. Leonardo ignored the stares as he strode down the hallway. He didn't care who saw him. He didn't care if his presence caused a scene. He needed to hear her voice again. Properly. Directly. When he reached the classroom doorway, he stopped. There she was, standing in front of the children, laughing softly, speaking Spanish with warmth he didn't know existed. Every word she said tugged at something buried so deep he had forgotten he even had it. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. Then she turned, catching sight of him. Her smile faded slowly. Her eyebrows drew together in confusion. She took a tiny step back. He took a breath and forced his expression into something calm. "Buenos dias." Her eyes widened slightly. "Hi, do you need something? This is a children's class." One of the kids whispered loudly, "Who's the scary man?" Amara shot the child a warning look. "Manners." Leonardo's lips twitched slightly. "I'm not here to interrupt. I just wanted to speak with you. Privately." Her fingers tightened around the book she was holding. "About the little boy from last night. Is he okay?" Leonardo nodded. "Si, he's fine." "Then, why are you here?" she asked slowly. He paused. "Because your voice feels like a memory I can't escape." He obviously couldn't say that. "I wanted to thank you," he said instead. She blinked. "You already said thank you last night." "Not properly." She hesitated. She didn't like the way he was looking at her. Not dangerous, but intensely curious, almost searching for something in her face. "I have 10 minutes break," she finally said. "We can talk then." "I'll wait." He stepped away from the door. Kids stared at him through the glass like they'd spotted a rare lion. During break, she stepped out, folding her arms nervously. "Okay, what is this really about? You following me to work? That's strange." Leonardo kept his voice calm. "I'm not here to cause trouble." "Then why?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Your voice, the way you speak Spanish, it reminds me of someone important." Amara frowned. "Who?" "A woman from many years ago." She waited for him to explain, but he didn't. He seemed uncomfortable, almost vulnerable. Something she didn't expect from a man who looked like he could command an army with a single gesture. "So, you came here because I sounded like someone you knew?" she asked incredulously. "Yes. That's it?" "Yes. That's—" She rubbed her forehead. "A very odd reason to show up at someone's workplace." Leonardo's expression didn't change. "I know." Silence stretched between them. Amara didn't know whether to laugh or walk away. Finally, she exhaled. "Look, I'm glad the boy is safe, but I'm just doing what anyone would do. No, Leonardo said softly. Not anyone. She swallowed hard. His tone wasn't flirtatious. It was sincere. Before she could respond, Matteo approached hurriedly. Boss, there's a situation. You need to see this. Leonardo turned, brows lowering. What kind of situation? Matteo glanced at Amara hesitantly. Maybe not in front of... Say it, Leonardo ordered. Matteo cleared his throat. We intercepted chatter last night. Someone saw her talking to you. They think she's... connected to you. Amara's heartbeat spiked. Connected to him? What does that mean? It means, Leonardo said, turning to her, someone dangerous believes you matter to me. I don't... Why would anyone think that? She stammered. Because you talk to me, Leonardo replied flatly. And in my world, that's enough. Amara stepped back, fear creeping across her face. Your world? Who exactly are you? Leonardo held her gaze, and this time he didn't hide the truth. I'm someone you should stay far away from. Her breath hitched. Then why are you pulling me in? His eyes softened briefly. Because I didn't expect to hear your voice yesterday. And now, I can't ignore it. Amara stared at him, conflicted, frightened, and unsure. She opened her mouth to respond, but a sudden distant sound cut her off. A thud, a crash, people shouting outside the building. Matteo's phone buzzed urgently. His eyes widened. Boss, we've got trouble. Amara's pulse quickened. What's happening? Leonardo turned toward the entrance, his expression turning dark. Someone followed me here. Another crash echoed, and then, everybody get down! Amara flinched as Leonardo grabbed her arm, pulling her behind him without hesitation. The danger she didn't know existed had finally reached her. The hallway erupted into screams. Children cried. Teachers shouted orders, trying to calm the chaos, as running footsteps thundered outside. Leonardo pushed Amara firmly behind him. Stay close to me. Don't move, unless I say. Amara's voice trembled. What's happening? Who are these people? People who want leverage, Leonardo muttered, eyes locked on the entrance. Matteo pressed his gun against the doorway, scanning the windows. Boss, 2 men so far. Masks. They came in shooting at the ceiling. They're not here for a robbery. Amara stared at them in disbelief. Guns? Masks? Oh my God. Wait, this can't be real. Leonardo turned, placing both hands on her shoulders. Look at me. Her eyes snapped to his. No one is touching you. Understand? His voice was firm, calm, steady. I won't let anything happen to you. Her breath shook, but she nodded weakly. A shout echoed down the hall. Vargas! We know you're in here! Amara flinched violently. They know your name? Who are you? Leonardo didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed her hand. We're leaving, now. Where? They're outside. Then we go inside, he said, pulling her behind him as they moved deeper into the community center. Matteo covered their exit, firing 2 controlled shots down the hall to keep the attackers back. Go! I'll block them! Amara gasped as a bullet shattered the glass of a classroom door. Children screamed. Teachers pulled them under tables. Leonardo pushed Amara against the wall, shielding her body with his own. Move when I move. Stay behind me. I'm not built for this, she cried. You won't have to be. They darted into a storage room, slamming the door behind them. Amara pressed her hands to her chest, trying to breathe. This is insane, she whispered. This is completely insane. Leonardo's voice softened just slightly. I didn't want you involved in this. Too late, she hissed. Matteo burst through the back door and joined them. 3 more incoming. They've split into groups. They're looking for leverage, just like you said. Leonardo's jaw flexed. And they think she's mine. Amara swallowed hard. I'm not yours. I don't even know you. Matteo glanced at Leonardo. Boss, she's not wrong. Leonardo didn't respond immediately. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. They won't listen to reason. They'll see you as a weakness. I'm not your weakness, she snapped. I'm a Spanish teacher. His eyes locked on hers. That's exactly why I'm getting you out of here alive. Matteo tilted his head. Back exit is blocked. They anticipated escape. Leonardo cursed under his breath. Then we create a distraction. Matteo hesitated. Boss, do it. As Matteo slipped out another door, Amara tugged on Leonardo's sleeve. Why me? Why are they doing this because of me? Leonardo inhaled deeply. Because someone saw you talking to me last night. In my world, that makes you a target. I didn't choose your world. I know, he said quietly. And it's my job to get you out of it. Before she could respond, an explosion of sound shook the building. Smoke billowed under the door. Amara choked, coughing. What was that? Matteo's distraction, Leonardo said. We move. He grabbed her hand again. She didn't protest this time. She just clung to him, trembling. They hurried down a narrow hallway. Shouting echoed behind them. Heavy boots stomped closer. Leonardo pushed Amara in front of him, guiding her. Left! Go left! I don't know where left even leads, she cried. Trust me. She hesitated a fraction of a second, then turned left. A gunshot rang out behind them. The wall inches from her head exploded in dust. Amara screamed and ducked. Leonardo spun, firing 2 shots with swift precision. Run! He barked. She ran. Her lungs burned, legs shaking. She had never run for her life before. Not like this. They burst into the gymnasium. Leonardo slammed the doors behind them and shoved a stack of benches against it. His muscles strained as he blocked the entry. Amara collapsed against the wall, gasping. This is a nightmare. Leonardo stepped toward her. Look at me. She shook her head wildly. No, I don't just... This isn't normal. Amara! His voice anchored her. She forced her eyes up to meet his. You're safe with me, he said. I promise you that. Something in his tone made her chest tighten. He meant it. But before she could speak, the gym doors rattled violently. Men shouted on the other side, trying to break through. Leonardo grabbed her hand again. We climb. Climb what? She began, then froze as she saw what he was pointing at. A maintenance ladder against the wall leading to a storage loft above the gym equipment. No, I can't. You can, he insisted. Move. She climbed shakily. Leonardo followed behind, steadying her whenever her foot slipped. They reached the loft just as the doors burst open beneath them. Masked men stormed in, guns drawn. Amara clasped a hand over her mouth to keep from screaming. Leonardo crouched beside her, silent, watching the men. One of them shouted, Find the woman! She was with him! She shut her eyes tightly. Oh, God, this is because of me. It's because of me, Leonardo corrected. They waited until the men moved deeper into the room. Then Leonardo guided her toward a small hatch leading to the roof. Amara hesitated. What if there are more outside? There probably are, he admitted, but we're running out of options. She nodded weakly. He pushed the hatch open. Sunlight poured in. They climbed onto the rooftop, wind whipping loudly around them. From the edge, Amara could see black cars surrounding the building. We're trapped, she whispered. No, Leonardo said. We're surrounded. That's different. Different how? Surrounded means we can break the circle. Matteo emerged from another rooftop access door, panting. "Boss, snipers on the south side. They're not shooting yet. They want her alive." Amara's grip tightened around her backpack strap. "Why do they want me? I don't understand." Leonardo turned to her, his voice firm. "Because they think hurting you will hurt me." She stared at him, breath catching. "But it would?" Leonardo froze. Their eyes met. He said nothing. He didn't need to. Before she could react, bullets sparked against the concrete beside them. Matteo dove behind a vent. "They found us!" Leonardo grabbed Amara and pulled her to the ground as another bullet whistled past. "Stay down," he said sharply. Where do we go now?" she whispered. Leonardo's jaw clenched. "We go down." "Down where?" "Into the fire," he said, "because it's the only way out." Amara looked into his eyes, and for the first time, truly saw the man behind the intimidation. He wasn't calm. He wasn't cold. He was terrified of losing her, and that terrified him even more. "Stay with me," he said. "I don't have a choice," she whispered. "Yes," he said quietly. "You do." Another round of gunfire erupted, and together they ran straight into the danger waiting below. Amara reached to brush away her tears, embarrassed that he'd seen. But he caught her wrist gently, holding it still. He didn't say anything for a long moment, and the silence made her pulse quicken. His eyes searched hers like he was trying to rewrite something that destiny had badly scribbled between them. "I thought caring made me weak," he murmured. "But caring about you, it's the first thing that's made me feel alive in years." Her breath trembled. "Leonardo." He shook his head slowly, stepping closer, the warmth of his body swallowing the space between them. "You don't have to feel anything for me. You don't have to want anything from me. Just don't run anymore. Stay. At least until this threat is over." Her heart twisted painfully. "I don't want to lose myself again." "You won't," he whispered. "I won't let anything or anyone take you." Something in his voice, gentle but certain, broke the last layer of ice inside her. She let out a shaky exhale. "Okay, I'll stay. Until this is over." His shoulders sagged in relief, as if he'd been holding his breath for days. "Gracias." The gratitude in that one word made her chest tighten. He wasn't good at this. He wasn't used to vulnerability. It clung to him awkwardly like a borrowed shirt, but it made him more human than anything she'd seen. Before either of them could say more, the burner phone Leonardo kept on a nearby table vibrated sharply. He glanced at the screen, then stiffened. "It's Matteo," he answered. "Speak." Amara couldn't hear the other side, but whatever Matteo said made Leonardo's expression turn dark and murderous. "When?" Leonardo asked. A pause. "Where?" Another pause. "Find him," he said quietly, dangerously. "I don't care how long it takes." Leonardo ended the call and turned to Amara, jaw tight. "What happened?" she demanded. "They found the man in the cafe." "Found him?" "Dead." She froze. "Dead? How?" "Single gunshot to the head." His voice was cold. "Execution style. Someone silenced him before he could talk." Her hands went cold. "So, the person behind all this, they're close. Closer than I thought." Fear flickered across her face. Leonardo saw it and didn't hesitate. He took her hand and pulled her gently but firmly toward him. "You're safe," he said quietly. "I swear you're safe with me." She wanted to believe that. She needed to. But safety felt like smoke, visible, breathable, but impossible to hold. Before she could respond, the room suddenly darkened. The power cut off. Amara froze. "What is that?" Leonardo's reaction was immediate. "Stay behind me." He drew his gun in one smooth motion, eyes sweeping the house. A loud crash echoed from downstairs. Amara gasped and instinctively grabbed Leonardo's jacket. Another crash. Wood splintering. Footsteps. Multiple. Heavy and fast. "They're inside," she whispered. Leonardo didn't answer. Instead, he moved, pulling her into the hallway, pushing her behind him as he positioned himself at the top of the staircase. He barely had time to aim before a masked intruder sprang into view. A gunshot exploded the quiet. Amara screamed as the intruder dropped. "Move!" Leonardo yelled, grabbing her hand and dragging her toward the back exit. More footsteps, more shouts, more gunshots cracking through walls. "Why are they attacking the house?" Amara cried. "Because they don't want you alive." He rasped. Her blood turned to ice. They burst through the back door into the dark alley behind the safe house. The night air hit her like a slap, sharp and cold. Leonardo shoved her behind a brick wall as bullets tore through the wooden door they'd just escaped. "They're trying to surround us," he muttered. "Who are they?" she demanded. "The people who killed the man in the cafe," he said. "People who know you saw something you weren't supposed to." She clutched her head. "But I didn't see anything." "That doesn't matter to them," he snapped. "What matters is that I care about you. That makes you a target." His words sliced through the chaos. Another gunshot whizzed past Leonardo's shoulder. He grabbed her waist and pulled her deeper into the alley, shielding her with his body, moving fast but controlled. A black SUV screeched to a stop at the end of the alley. The door flew open. "Boss!" Matteo shouted from inside. "Get in!" Leonardo practically lifted Amara and shoved her into the back seat, climbing in after her as Matteo hit the accelerator. Amara trembled uncontrollably, her hands shaking so badly she had to hold them together. "Are they following?" "In 2 cars," Matteo said, checking the rearview mirror. "But we'll lose them." Leonardo wrapped an arm around her shoulders, pulling her close to steady her breathing. "You're okay. You're okay. I've got you." Tears streamed down her face as the SUV swerved violently, tires screeching. Matteo took a sharp right. A gunshot shattered the back windshield. Amara screamed and ducked instinctively. Leonardo dragged her into his chest, covering her head. "Just keep driving." "I'm trying." The SUV shot through tight turns, dodging parked cars, alley debris, and late-night pedestrians who cursed as they jumped aside. Finally, after a brutal 10 minutes, Matteo slammed the brakes. "They're gone," he gasped. "I lost them." Amara collapsed against Leonardo, chest heaving, eyes wide with shock. He stroked her back gently despite the adrenaline pumping through him like fire. "It's over." She shook her head. "No. No, it's not. They're going to keep coming." Leonardo nodded grimly. "Yes, until we find out who ordered this." Amara's breathing slowed, but her fear didn't fade. "Leonardo, why is this happening to me? I was just helping a child. I was just speaking Spanish." "That's exactly why," Leonardo cut in. She stared at him. "What?" He swallowed hard. "When you spoke Spanish, you repeated a lullaby. The same lullaby my mother used to sing. A lullaby no one outside my family should know." Her heart pounded. "Leonardo, what are you saying?" "That lullaby," he said quietly, "is connected to the last secret my mother died protecting. A secret someone is willing to kill to keep buried." She shook her head helplessly. "But I don't know anything." "No," Leonardo said. "But you said the lullaby exactly the way she did. Same tune, same pauses, same ending note." "Leonardo, there's only one way that's possible," he murmured. She felt the air freeze between them. "You're connected to her," he whispered. "To my mother. And whoever killed her thinks you might know something." Her throat closed. "But I don't—" "That doesn't matter," he said. "It only matters that they believe you do." Amara pressed her trembling hands to her face. This is insane." Leonardo gently lowered her hands. "I know, but I will protect you, no matter what." His voice held something fierce, something final. She swallowed hard. "Leonardo, if we survive this, you can't just walk away afterwards." "I don't plan to." Before she could speak again, Matteo cleared his throat. Boss, we've got another problem." Leonardo tensed. "What now?" Matteo held up a phone. The attack was live-streamed. Amara's blood drained. "Live-streamed? What do you mean?" "Someone filmed the intruders storming the house," Matteo said. "The video has gone viral. It's everywhere. The whole city knows you're with Leonardo now." Leonardo cursed under his breath. Amara's voice wavered. "So now they know what I look like?" "Everyone does," Matteo answered. Amara felt the world spinning as panic rose again. Leonardo leaned closer. "Listen to me. This changes nothing. I still have you. I still protect you." "I don't want to hide for the rest of my life," she whispered. "You won't," he said. "This ends soon, one way or another." The SUV pulled into an underground garage beneath one of Leonardo's most heavily guarded properties. Dozens of heavily armed guards formed a tight perimeter. Leonardo guided her out, keeping an arm around her protectively. Inside the private elevator, she leaned back against the mirrored wall, finally letting the exhaustion sink in. "Leonardo, what if I break?" she whispered. He stepped close, brushing a loose curl behind her ear. "Then I'll keep you together." "And if they come again?" His eyes hardened. "Then I'll burn down the world to keep you alive." Her breath caught. The elevator doors opened onto the penthouse, but neither of them stepped out. She looked up at him with fear, exhaustion, and something deeper. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "No," he said. "But I'm asking for you." The air between them shifted, charged, fragile, dangerous. For the first time since everything began, she didn't pull away. She didn't hide. She stepped closer, placed her hand lightly on his chest and whispered, "Then don't lose me." His breath shuddered. Never. As they walked into the penthouse, together, Amara knew two things with terrifying clarity. She wasn't safe anymore, but she wasn't alone. And that made all the difference. Ladies and gentlemen watching, if you want to see what happens next, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button for more gripping stories. Your support keeps these stories alive, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes after this.